What is up, my geekdom family? It's me, Artist MC, back again. What's good, Malika? Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. If you can, give me a one in the chat, please. I apologize for the early morning stream. I listened to it on the playback, and it was breaking up, going out, and it's just what you deal with driving and trying to do a stream. Whereas you're driving through mountains and stuff like that, I passed through too many dead zones or drop spots. Just stupid. But I had something I wanted to get out, and then I got it out, and then I listened to it on the playback, and you can barely hear some of it. It's like, damn, it missed one of those good points. I thought it was a good point. So that's why I'm doing this. I have some time, I have about an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this in here and reiterate what I said, even though it can't be what I said the first time, because that is why I call this jazz and not memories. It was the original thought, the original way I said it the first time. That's it. There is no repeating it. But the sentiment will remain the same. And the sentiment goes like this. I was given my reaction or my view on hearing about Anthony Mackie, um, you know, stepping his foot into the elephant shit by saying Captain America was not necessarily about America or some words to that effect. You have to go back and watch the interview that he was doing when he said it. But what I got from seeing the clip that I saw of the interview was that he was trying to link the ideas that Captain America just not stand for just America, right? It's not just about America. And what they were trying to do in the movie was bring back that sense of imagination, hope, and wonder about this idea of America that everybody could rally around and pull to, not just make it just about America. Now, Captain America is part and parcel to America, but Captain America, the character, is built on the ideals of America while not actually condoning some of the actions that America has taken, right? Some of the negative actions that they have taken against the citizens and other people. Now, this is the part where politics in comic books becomes intertwined and can screw up what is a good character by trying to inject these ideals into a character who will not resonate with them the same way. Now, one of the things I said earlier was that Captain America has at times gone against the American government, even in the cinematic universe he has. And because of that, you understand that he stands for an ideal of what America is, not necessarily politically what America is, but idealistically what America is and why people flock in droves to move here, come here, whatever, no matter what kind of crap they talk about it, they do always want to come here, right? Either to visit or to stay permanently without papers. So while I get the point that he was trying to get at, he being Anthony Mackie, I think it came out very convoluted and screwed up, which is why it is throwing red meat to people who really didn't need that kind of red meat thrown to them about this Captain America 4 movie and Anthony Mackie himself as an actor, because they were having enough of a good time by themselves just shitting on the movie anyway. They were. I mean, they didn't need any help in doing it. They have been shitting on this movie for over a year. And I put it all the way back to the end of Endgame when old Steve Rogers handed the shield to Sam Wilson with Bucky's approval. I might add. because Bucky was the one who gave him the nod. So yeah, go over. He could have stepped up and took it himself, but Bucky didn't want it. So you already knew that from that moment in Endgame when Sam Wilson took the shield from Captain America that was given to him by Captain America, section of geeks was going to have a problem. Now, this is something that most black geeks already know. There's a certain section of geeks that just like black characters. Yeah, they do, but they just like them in their role, sidekicks. They don't want them out in front like that. Not like that. Not for that role. That role is too sacred. And when you punch or push one of these sacred cows out of the way, in a sense, your Captain Americas, your Superman, your Spider-Man, a Batman, or anything like that, you feel that pushback. You'll hear it. You'll hear it. Like, give you a perfect example since I mentioned Batman last. Most people might not know who Batwing is. Most people might not know, right? Well, Batwing was the Batman of Africa, right? When they did that whole Batman Incorporated situation. People didn't mind him so much, but they gave him that relegated status of being, Batman knockoff. If he tried to be Batman, it'd be an issue. It would, because Batman is Bruce Wayne, part and parcel. Now, it doesn't matter how many other characters in the Bat family have taken on the mantle of Batman at one time. It would not necessarily be an issue. But that one, specifically taking it on, would be an issue. Like, I think it was, 7 years ago or so, when DC was doing its Visions of the Future, whatever they were calling it at the time. And the Batman for the future was Lucius Fox, one of Lucius Fox's kids or something like that. They kind of had an issue with that shit too when it was revealed. Like, oh, what the fuck? Right? It's just one of those things in geekdom as being a black geek that you understand. Yeah, they may like these characters sometimes, but they only like them in certain roles. And they don't like them in the lead role. Never really the lead role. Unless it's their own comic where it's about them. That's it. Otherwise, they don't have a problem with it. They can sidekick forever and be beloved and all the rest of that shit. But the minute you do something, you make a change like that, like, look, he stepped up from being sidekick to being the main kick, they're like, oh, hell no, kick him out. That's what I see happening with this Anthony Mackie Captain America 4 shit. Not that it's overly critical that any American can be Captain America, right? You just have to stand up for their ideals, right? That's it. I don't see how Sam Wilson could be any less of an American already. He's in the military. He is in the Air Force. I believe he has some kind of rank already, whether it's captain or not. I don't see how that character in and of itself could not be considered an ideal of America since he's fighting for America anyway. I don't see how anybody could have a problem with that. But that's the nexus point in a genesis of telling a story where you do give the stars and stripes and the shield to a black man and then put his ass out there as Captain America. Who has the actual issue with that? Why do people have an issue with that? Let's look at this and see what this ideal is for. Because understandably, Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers are friends, right? This wasn't some dude out of nowhere he just didn't know, okay? If we focus just on the cinematic version of it, Sam Wilson has been there with Captain America while Bucky was disappeared and everything, but has been there with him since Winter Soldier. You saw how they met. You saw how their friendship started. You saw what Sam Wilson was doing in the military, what he was doing when he was kind of out of the military, how he gave his audition tape or his file to want to be down with Captain America and help Captain America bring down S.H.I.E.L.D., who was infested with Hydra. Everybody was fine with it. Flying with wings, shooting guns, all that shit. When the movie ended and Cap was, kind of on the outs with S.H.I.E.L.D. and was going to do some other clandestine stuff, who was right there with him? Sam. It wasn't Bucky. It wasn't the Winter Soldier. It was Sam. Now, mind you, Sam is of this time. Steve is from the 40s, World War II. He just stopped being a capsicle and getting up to speed on how the world is now and finding out what the world has done in his absence to people. Now, after you go through Winter Soldier and Civil War, and Infinity War, and Endgame, you see Sam Wilson fighting right alongside Captain America through all those trials. And this is just cinematically, mind you. All those trials. Some of them Bucky was there for. Bucky didn't have no smoke with Sam outside of not wanting to be cooped up in a Volkswagen together, which I don't blame him. Right? No. Yeah, you laughing about that studio sidekick, main kick? But I should have said sidekick, front kick. As soon as he step up to the front, somebody want to give him the back kick. That's the back of the superhero line. So, seeing Sam out there as an Avenger, proving himself as an Avenger, just like Hawkeye has, just like Black Widow has, two other people who have no fucking powers and people like and don't have a problem with, there's still an issue when it becomes, hey, Steve gave me his shield and asked me to take up that now. I didn't take it from him. I didn't say, get the hell out the way, white boy, it's my turn. None of that shit. He gave it to. Because he believed in what I had to give. He didn't give it to Bucky, which he could have. Bucky was there. He didn't step up in the way like, hey, back off, Sam. What the fuck you doing, Steve? I was here first. He didn't say that shit, did he? No. He gave Sam the nod, and he hung back and let him do what he did. Why? Because Bucky know how fucked up he is. He know how messed up his head is. If you didn't understand that, you got to better understand it if you actually watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier and didn't just get pissy because they had the Ginger Jesus up there being a whole fucking terrorist. They were the flag smashers, after all. And seeing Sam understand what it would mean for him to carry that shield, learning the stuff that he learned, because he can't carry it how Steve carried it, because he's not fucking Steve Rogers. He never said he was. He never wanted to be. He is Sam Wilson. And Sam Wilson's military American experience is completely fucking different from Steve Rogers' American idealistic experience that he had going into World War II. I would say going into World War II, the enemy was really playing. I'd say coming out of the wars in our time that Sam Wilson has come out of, it gets pretty complicated. It's not as cut and dry, which means it's a little harder to understand what it means to stand for America, period. What that ideal is. Is it still the same thing that Captain America believed in? Or has it morphed a little bit because you got this dirt on it? So the part that people don't like about the Falcon and Winter Soldier was him at the end telling people they have to do better. That is the ideal. That is the American ideal running up against American politics and telling them, your ass got to do better. Because this ain't it. Now you can crack on that shit the whole time because you don't want to hear that shit from a black dude, but it's actually the truth. The shit that those politicians in that show were into was dirty. What Agent 13 was doing was dirty. How she got did by Shield after Cap went rogue and she helped them was dirty. This is what Sam Wilson has to carry now. Because what is he going to stand up for? Is he going to hold these politicians accountable, or is he accountable to the politicians to carry their water? So I can understand the point that he's trying to make, where it's not just about America. Yeah, that's how the character was created, but what? Halfway through it, you gonna change his name to something else? Captain Libertarian? The fuck out of here, dude. What country is he from? He stands for the best ideals of the country, not the politics of the fucking country. This is why Cap has gone rogue at times against the American government, because they ain't living up to them ideas. If Sam Wilson is doing the same thing that Steve Rogers is doing without a serum as an American soldier, then I would think that story, just like Steve Rogers' story, resonates a little bit more because they're both standing up for the same ideals, black or white. So he don't need a modifier in front of his name to understand it's goddamn Captain America. It is whoever's holding that mantle, standing up for those ideals of what America was founded on, and often strays away from because of politics. Now, the other point I made for the comic book side of it is that where politics comes into comics is where comics really get fucked up at times. And you have to remember, comics are always representative of the times that they're in. Right? So there was a time where it wasn't, in the real world, it wasn't a good idea to say you was American. There's a lot of shame cast on America. And Captain America was still running around in the comic books. So what did they do? They killed him. They killed him off. Because at the time, we had another president in office that a certain section of the media didn't like. He had the wrong letter in front of his name, wrong color, and they didn't like the shit he was talking. And we were involved in some wars. That was questionable. Well, it wasn't that good of an idea for them to be, stripes and wave the banner for an idea. But they do. They killed Captain America off. This has happened in comics often. Other people have held that shield before. Sam Wilson ain't the first. He ain't going to be the last. So when people get all this fervor about how mad they are that Sam Wilson is Captain America, there's no Steve, then shut the hell up. You don't even like Chris Evans right now for his political opinions. They ain't got shit to do with him playing Captain America. And you already saw where they left that character in the cinematic universe. He's an old man. So he ain't going to be it right now, no matter what you say. I know who the original Captain America is, but I also know who Isaiah Bradley is. There's always been somebody who has taken that shield. Shit, Punisher had it for a minute, as far as I remember. So I can't get on this hate crusade, this 2 minutes of hate every day about how bad this movie is going to be. And then out of the woodwork, Anthony Mackies says something that could really just set them off, and now everybody want to attack his ass. Like, that don't make no sense, man. This is not one of the people that's out there every time somebody stick a microphone in their face saying something stupid. It's not. It's the one time. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass of it if he can clean that shit up a little bit. I understand what he was going for, but it was not conveyed in the best way. It wasn't. It gave the critics something to hate on him. As much as they say, oh, they like him, he's a fine actor and all the rest of that. You see, it didn't take nothing but one little slip up for them to be jumping on his shit. That means you never liked his ass. That's what that means. So stop bullshit. Look, I give a fuck about Anthony Mackie being Captain America for one movie the same way I give a fuck about Shuri being Black Panther for one movie. As long as that shit go back to where it's supposed to be, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. No. Best believe if they didn't cripple Rhodey and Tony Stark died and then they made War Machine, Iron Man, you'd be hearing the same shit. And in effect, you do when you hear them talking about Riri Williams. It's the same shit. Now, in the case of her, at least I can agree with you, it's bullshit because they made the character up out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, she's better, smarter, and can do it with less stuff than Tony Stark in the comic books. That was lame. By a writer I actually like. Lame. Lame bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. But that's not the case with Sam Wilson. It's not. So don't give me this belief that you really care so much about him and his story past and comics and shit like that. Oh, the fuck you don't. You don't. You never cared. Sam Wilson got one of the same powers that make Aquaman lame to people. He used to be able to talk to a bird, Red Wing. And you always wrote him off as just some silly ass character. Always. So don't give me this. You actually had some respect and honor for him in the comic books before. He was a good enough character then. And shut the hell up. You didn't give a fuck about that character then. You did not. I know you didn't. And I call bullshit. Far as cinematically, it's his turn, motherfucker. Let him have it. What difference does it make? Really? If the movie fails, what does it do for you? Not a goddamn thing. What does it do for Geekdom? Not a goddamn thing, really. What does it do for the MCU? Not a goddamn thing. But they got to tie up some of these loose ends. And this is the shit that's coming next. Plain and simple. That's all it is. So you can be overly optimistic for how good Daredevil is going to be and really skeptical of what the Fantastic Four is going to be. But I can tell you straight up, I don't give a fuck about the Fantastic Four. I know it needs to be good for Marvel, but I don't care that much. You know why? I know there's other smart people in the MCU besides Reed Richards. A lot of them. At least two of them is black. But they get nerfed in their intelligence, at least on screen. In the comics, they go back and forth with using them and then hiding them away. I don't think Sue Storm is the ideal, most beautiful woman in the world. I don't. I'm still trying to really figure out from playing Marvel Rivals, how often have I seen Sue Storm really just cut loose with her powers in comics? And I really haven't because I don't really. It's always boring to me. No shit. But outside of that, it's like, no, not that damn interesting. So whatever the movie is going to be, their movie is going to be, it's going to be. I just need to see what it's going to be for the MCU, for the cinematic universe, because it ain't changing shit in the comics. It's just their idea of having to put one of their, I wouldn't even say premier teams. It's one of their most recognizable teams from Marvel Comics. That first team, that first family. But that's just like getting your mascot Spider Man back. That's all that shit is. It's getting your marquees back, your trademarks back. So fucking what? Do you think the movie's gonna be good? No, I don't. It's gonna be a Fantastic Four movie, which is gonna line up with all the rest of them that they've made over the years that are just men. Because that is not the action team. That's a science team. That's not the action team. They're explorers. What are you expecting? A superhero fight? CG? Yeah. Thought we was not liking that anymore. And Malika say, white America will always want their great white host because the image of the strong male white savior is paramount to their identity and controlling how the world sees them. Example, white Jesus. Yeah, Malika, that's basically it. That's basically it. Now, I know white geeks don't like hearing that shit from certain people, and it's usually people who are of the minority who can look at you and say that shit. Look at you and say, no, I understand what y'all get attracted to by this shit because I'm sitting here observing. But I'm also listening to what you're saying about why you don't like things. And you skirting around everything else but this. Just admit it. What does it matter to you? Look, I know I know Trump rode into office with a mandate. I'm not upset about that shit. It is what the hell it is. But don't let that shit go to all of y'all heads, okay? Because I told you guys before, a lot of these motherfuckers that's talking this geek shit right now is not so undercovers conservatives. And they injecting this political bullshit into all of this stuff in their way. I don't appreciate that shit at all. Because for me, geekdom ain't political. You either like this shit, love it, or you don't. But when you start injecting your political beliefs into it, I have the same problem with your ass as a commentator as I do with the writers injecting their political dumb shit into it too. I don't need that here on either side of it. The people making it or the people complaining about it. I don't need your political debate here. Take that shit back to the political realm where y'all can argue all goddamn day long and not ruin the shit that I want to enjoy. Fuck off with it. I didn't ask. I don't care. Have whatever belief you want to. But you know what? I don't need Spider Man holding Obama's hand. I don't need you killing off Captain America because you don't think America is a good place to be right now. I don't need that shit. So understanding that somebody is speaking to Anthony Mackie's point, he's trying to speak to Captain America not being tied to this political shit. He shouldn't be. It's not his goddamn job. Even cinematically, you saw him breaking away from that. 1 second, Joe. Sorry about that, guys. Had to get some stuff ordered. Man was looking for me. So, what did Malika say? Fantastic Four, aka the Discovery Channel, Avengers, X Men, Blade, Wolverine, aka ESPN, and the Action Channel. Yes. Now, which movies work better? Problem with every Fantastic Four movie that they've had so far, they're trying to make it into some action for you motherfuckers, and you haven't liked it either time. They would do better letting Christopher Nolan do a Fantastic Four movie because at least it'll be fucking cerebral. And it'll probably catch the people you're trying to catch that say they love the Fantastic Four. And not just the first family where everybody's white. They ain't the most powerful. They're not just the smartest. They're not. They're standing on very shaky ground with any uniqueness about them outside of Reed stretching and Sue turning invisible. And I told you guys my view on the shit. My view on Sue Storm's invisibility and the rest of the power she show, she's just a fucking telekinetic who can turn invisible. I think Jean Grey got that shit covered. Or any other of the X-Men who have those same kind of abilities. Way more powerful, can mop the floor with her ass. Same thing with Johnny Storm and his flame ability. Same thing with Colossus going up against the Thing. It's not that damn unique anymore. So the reverence for what Stan created, I get that part. Yeah, they should be back home with Marvel. Yeah, you do need to do a movie with them. It should be good. You would hope. But we already know from anybody who's paying attention to any of this Marvel stuff, they haven't been able to make anything really good in a while because everybody is cynical on their shit since Endgame. We've been sitting around watching people just wait for the fail. Like, wow, that was the peak. You got to fumble now. And watching it with that fucking sick fixation that I have to see it fail. You might say and give lip service to you want it to be good, but you really don't. You wanted to see it be bad. Look, I pay my money to go see these movies. All right. I spend my time, my money. Time I'm not getting back. Money I could possibly make some more of it. But time I'm never getting back. So if I sit in the theater and watch a movie that is not that damn good, look, I could have blew that $20 on something else. Maybe some Jack Daniels, maybe a pool game, maybe some other shit, right? Some other things that I enjoy. So I'm not worried about that so much. The thing I do worry about is the time and what's happening with these characters. Are they being served? Is what you have done serving to make any of this stuff better or perpetuate it forward to make the younger people in the audience interested in checking out these characters? Because as an ex comic book retailer, I just want people to watch the shit, be able to come in and buy some of these books. Hopefully they can go back and read some of the good shit, regardless of what you saw on the screen. Maybe you can go back and catch up to where we are with reading some of these good material on these characters and not some of this schlock that was thrown up on the screen for you to placate and pacify a modern audience that doesn't read and doesn't know these goddamn characters outside of a Google search or what their favorite commentator had to say. That's my thing. So I'm not going to be overly bitching at Anthony Mackie for what he said. Yeah, he can be wrong. He can be wrong all day long. But I think it was a point that was not clearly conveyed on his part. And I'm not going to shit on him just because he said something. He made a faux pas. Oh my God. I've seen him talk in many interviews. I've never seen him talk like that which means he was fucking up in a sense that he has too many competing thoughts at one time, trying to come out, and it made his point convoluted and murky as liquid shit. So he gonna have to clean that shit up. The movie didn't need this, but the movie didn't need any help for people to be shitting on it. Nobody has seen anything, not a frame, not a pre-screen or nothing. But the hate and the shit on this Captain America 4 has been out for over a year, damn near 2 years. That's why I put it back to Endgame. It was getting flamed regardless. Regardless, it was getting flamed. That's why so many of them can tell you they didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Why would they? They don't want to see that shit, right? Because it's Black Captain America, right? So why would you watch it? Because Bucky was in it? Look, I like Sebastian Stan too, and I still think he could be Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, but not under KK. And they ain't doing him much justice in the MCU right now with Winter Soldier. That's on Marvel. That ain't on the actor. So that was it. I just wanted to try to clarify that point a little bit for you guys. Hopefully, this audio came in clear as hell, so you can hear every word and not have it borging or glitching out. Apologies for that because I can't hear that on my end. All I can hear is myself talking. I don't hear what you hear, so I have to rely on the audience to actually be active in the chat and let me know that, hey, you borging or you broke up. Otherwise, I won't know that shit until it's done recording. I cannot hear it at the time I'm doing it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get me some lunch, even though I'm already full as a tick. And I will catch you guys next time. Oh, before I say it, if you disagree, you guys have to say, that's what the comment section for. I'm very accessible. So throw it in the comment section and I can read that comment and we can, have a discussion about it. I would enjoy that because I do read those comments. So catch you guys next time. Have a good day. Peace.